First of all, why is it that you are actively pushing for this right now? What do you see as being the most urgent need?
Well, the most urgent need is that we are still well in this pandemic. There are still a lot of costs that are driven by it. Well, obviously, the vaccine is coming out, it's being distributed. There are costs surrounding that. I think our message is very clear. First, Congress, you have to do something. They've literally done nothing surrounding the coronavirus pandemic in over 8 months. And with 9 days to go, we don't have a whole lot of hope. And whatever they do has to be focused, much like it was in the original CARES Act, focused around the relief efforts, focused around the costs that states are bearing to get the vaccine out, to maintain PPE, to maintain testing, all of those pieces that really come into play. So again, we just want it focused. We want it something that is flexible for the states, that we can manage, and doesn't have kind of that megalomaniac attitude that comes out of Washington trying to control everything, a one-size-fits-all. That's not going to work.
But the devil, again, being in the details on this. And right now, as Elon pointed out, you have three competing bills or proposals that are kind of out there. One of them would suggest giving the money to every individual below a certain income level rather than adding the extra unemployment benefits. How does that play out to you? And then the idea that McConnell has now put forth, which is to get rid of the state and local aid and get rid of the liability protections just to pass the things that both sides agree on. How would you feel about each of those ideas?
Well, obviously, I think the liability protections for businesses are critical. They're crucial. A lot of states already have some of that. But in a place like New England, for example, we have so many families and businesses that cross borders. So in that's one case where to have something that we can all, everyone knows the rules across the border on a nationalized level would definitely help. The unemployment insurance, look, our economy's open. We're doing really well in New Hampshire. The unemployment insurance stipend might be valuable for some folks, but I can tell you it also comes with some detriments as well in terms of disincentivizing people back to work and all of that. So I want the dollars really focused on the transportation costs, the ability to support my National Guard, all those folks that are going to actually be on the front lines, getting the vaccine out, maintaining the high level of testing that we still need, all the other ancillary costs that comes around the public health aspects of it, not about pension bailouts and all that kind of nonsense. Focus on the costs that the states and the localities are bearing for operationalizing what needs to be done for the citizens.
Governor, this makes for some strange bedfellows. This is something that you're in agreement with the governor of Massachusetts, but you've been on the show several times recently to talk about your disagreements with the governor of Massachusetts and how he's trying to keep the tax money from citizens who live in your state and now are working in your state alone, too. How does this kind of come down when you're looking around trying to figure out what the most important issues are and who you team up with?
Well, it's not about teaming up. I think a lot of the governors on these issues across the board are in agreement that as long as they keep the dollars focused, as long as they keep it where it needs to be, I think a lot of governors on both sides of the aisle agree to go here. Charlie Baker and I get along great. He's a great governor. He's doing, I think, a very good job for Massachusetts. I don't much care for their attempt to try to take an income tax out of citizens in New Hampshire that aren't even working in Massachusetts. That is unconstitutional on a variety of levels. They need dollars. Everyone's trying to scrape up some revenue. I can appreciate that, but trying to take it out of my citizens' pockets, that just ain't going to work. But, for the most part, really, governors work in a very bipartisan, nonpartisan way because we're the managers. We're the ones that are actually implementing a lot of these solutions. And one thing I can tell you, every governor will agree with, what is good for New Hampshire isn't necessarily good for Massachusetts, New York, California, Arizona. We're all very, very different, which is why the flexibility is so, so important. CARES Act, the original CARES Act came with a lot of flexibility. I was able to use half of my CARES Act money, $600 million, to support businesses and employment and all of those sorts of things to keep those businesses viable. Some states chose not to do that. Some states did. We did it in a very aggressive way, and it's really helped our economy tremendously. And so, again, we all have to find that path. So first, Congress, do something that is coronavirus-driven, and don't get over and above themselves. It's kind of like flipping over the handlebars of your bicycle. They get going too fast, they think too big, and then nothing gets done. And that would be just the worst thing for the American citizens as a whole.
Shepard Smith here. Thanks for watching CNBC on YouTube.